What's up, YouTube? So I've got another Forester inside my garage today, and I've never worked on this one before. It looks to be in really good shape. Most older Subarus get the bubbling in the back here. This one's really nice and clean, lower mileage. What their complaint is harsh transmission engagement, and it seemed to happen to me in going into drive. So I went neutral to drive, stepped on the gas. Drive was neutral for a second, it clunked into gear, and then I was going. So she knows it has some type of transmission fluid leak, and we're suspecting just the fluid is a little bit low, and that's why the rough engagement is happening. But we won't really know that until we top it back up. I'm going to inspect whatever this leak is and see if it's something I can repair here easily enough. I don't actually have any good hose for transmission oil at the moment, so may have to bring this one back in and do a repair in the future. But if it's something I can hold out for now, because I am going away, at least she'll be able to use it for the meanwhile. She also complains about a squealing noise, and she says it happens at different times when she's steering, when she's pressing on the brakes. So I'm just going to give a general look over for things that are squealing. I did already hear kind of a belt squeal when I held the steering wheel all the way to one end and kind of loaded it up a little bit. And just having a quick look here, that belt looks to be okay. So I'm pretty sure I can probably just adjust it up a bit. The AC belt, on the other hand, is quite cracked and should be replaced. It makes me suspect possibly the timing belt has never been done. The mileage is definitely at that point where it's been done not long ago, or it just hasn't been done at all. So I may even go to the point of popping off one of the timing covers, the easy one, just to have a look at the belt and kind of try and make a determination on whether it's been done or not. I can always make that as a recommendation. It's the last thing you kind of want happening to your engine is the belt snapping and valves hitting in it. It just wastes your money. So past that stuff, I hear some exhaust shields also rattling. So while I'm underneath having a look at the trans fluid leak and possibly trying to look at a brake from the inside of the wheel, I'm going to see if I can tighten up some exhaust shields or just take them off if they're rotting and get rid of them, try and get rid of that rattle at the same time. So yeah, I'm going to start probably with the belt and get it tightened up just because it's quick and easy to do. And then I'll slide underneath, see what we got going on under there. So only a couple things you need to do to actually check a timing belt and get down to these belts. But I'm going to yank this reservoir out of the way. It's just two 10mm bolts and then three 10mm bolts on the cover, and we can get a good look at what the timing belt looks like right away. That bottom one can be pretty tricky to get to. Not as easy if you don't have an air ratchet. And then this cover will just slide off. Kind of hard to tell. This belt looks old, and it's got quite a bit of deflection in it. But when I look further in, it kind of appears like the water pump may have been done. And this right on top here looks like where one of the timing marks actually was, and someone may have actually put a dot of marking paint on the belt to reinstall it. So my guess would be that someone actually did the water pump, because it may have failed, and just put the original belt back on, or the belt's just been on there a long time and nothing's been done and it's just too hard to tell. Subaru belts tend to last a very long time. You can extend them past the interval time, even though they should be changed. But I think this one I may end up recommending to her, because the last thing you want to happen is one of the other components fails and the belt jumps and causes you engine damage for no reason. So I'll get this back together and then I'll be adjusting one of the belts next. So next, to adjust the belts, you'll have to remove the covers. This bolt here is also for tightens the shield on, but also tightens the alternator in place. It's a mounting bolt. So yeah, it looks like the power steering belt has been actually replaced. It's a relatively new looking belt. It's got it's a Napa replacement belt, and it's got quite a bit of deflection. It's kind of like what was going on with my car just a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to loosen the adjusting locking bolt and just tighten this tensioner up a little bit. The tightening bolt is actually bent. That should be plenty tight. Lock up the then we'll tighten up the lock bolt. And the belt feels good. The AC belt should be replaced. We get into a timing belt, we'll do it then. And then just reinstall the shields, and I got to put the coolant reservoir back into place. But I've pulled the air filter, it's dirty, it should be done. I'm looking at these ignition wires, they look original, so I'm going to make a pile of recommendations. The fuel filter looks original to me. This is a 99 model, so you've got to think that this guy's been on the road for 18 years and probably just the most basic services actually done to it. But I choose Subaru for a reason, and it's because of that reliability and the way they actually designed their engineering is I believe it's above and beyond a lot of other manufacturers. Next is to go down below and see what's going on underneath there. And as you can see, I've got the exhaust or this splash shield in my way. So there's a bolt here, 12 mils. There's supposed to be 2 in the back, and there's generally clips that hold it up on the side, but a lot of times those are already gone and missing. So I'll get the splash shield down, and I already see traces of oil generally everywhere. So I've got the splash shield down. Sorry if there's a haze in the way, because I've been vaping like crazy in here. The splash shield's got a lot of collected oil on it. There's a lot of oil coming onto the cross member. It's I would say the head gaskets are leaking pretty heavy on both sides. You can actually see the little bit of actual gasket just starting to break down and come out a little bit. The oil pan looks pretty dry. I mean, the filter's got a drop oil on it, but I think it's coming from up top. This cam seal might be leaking on the driver's side of the vehicle. But the transmission lines up on the radiator and the cooler are really dry. They might be seeping here a little bit. There's a little bit of a clean mark there, but it doesn't look that bad. And when I look further back at the filter and the pan, they look to be in good shape. So I'm probably going to put it back up, maybe tighten these clamps if I can a little bit, and put the splash shield back up, have a better look at further back, and then go from there. So what I did with the exhaust shields to actually quiet them down, because they're still in really good shape, it's just they've loosened up. One clamp is rotted off, and I tried to manipulate them a little bit to get them to clamp a little tighter, but I just couldn't get that to happen. So what I did is cut a little strip of sheet metal, just a little strip of it, and then folded it over to create like a little wedge, and then I just stuck that in between the two shields and then hammered it into place. And the shields are tight as can be. The wedge is really tight, and it's going to last probably till someone actually hits it by accident and the wedge loosens up or something. So looking further back, everything's dry in the back, and I don't really see any signs of transmission fluid leak. So we're going to go ahead and check the level. I'm going to have to take it off the ramps. You want a nice level vehicle when you're checking it, and just see what's on the stick, see if it needs some, and start adding it if it needs it, and then I'll have to go for a quick little drive. So I've run it and checked the transmission fluid. The fluid level looks okay, and the fluid looks pretty burnt. Doesn't really have a reddish color anymore, and I would worry that the transmission's maybe starting on its way out. I don't know how well it dries. I haven't had it on the highway. I haven't really put heavy load on it. All I did was bring it into my driveway or into the garage. So I also hear some light noise when I was running it, and so I've shut it down. I've pulled the dipstick to check the oil level, and there's nothing on the dipstick. So I would say the oil leaks are a little bit worse than what I would think they would have been, because the oil change sticker isn't from very long ago. So yeah, just a lot of maintenance over the years that probably should have been done may have prevented some of this stuff. But you know, like Subis, some of them are like tanks. They just keep on going and going. They'll be on a rally stage, missing one wheel and still finish. So yeah, I'm gonna get the oil topped up. Hopefully that quiets down the motor a little bit, and ultimately just make some recommendations. Depending on whatever plans they have for it, you never know, I might get it back into the garage for another video. So if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below, and I'll see you in the next one.